Hey everyone, it's Joy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing Spellbinders Club Kits for December 2023. I use the BetterPress Kit of the Month, the Glimmer Hot Foil Kit of the Month, the 3D Embossing Folder Kit of the Month, and then starting this month they have the Stencil Kit of the Month. So I'm going to share that with you today. I've created 5 cards, so the video is a little bit longer, but definitely worth watching. These cards came out really, really cute. I'm going to start with the Glimmer Hot Foil because I want to use the sentiments for the rest of the cards. So I'm going to do that first. I have my Glimmer Hot Foil machine heating up. I'm going to take that flower image. I'm going to do it on one side, but I believe that you could do it on both sides and it would connect somehow. I didn't lay that out, but I'm pretty sure it does. But don't hold me to it if I'm wrong. I'm going to tape that in place. I am using Aura foil because it's my favorite. And that might be the foil for this month, but I don't remember for sure. But if it's not, I mean, this is just something I love. I'm going to trim the excess off. This will be a 1-layer card, so I will also be foiling the sentiment here. There's actually 4 sentiments. That strip one is 2 sentiments and it has a coordinating die, and then this one and the other one that's kind of scripty does not have a coordinating die. So while I am heating up my machine, while I am letting the hot foil do its thing, I will also be prepping for the next pieces of foiling. So while my machine is heating up, I'm going to use some specialty cardstock for the sentiment, some Glimmer specialty cardstock for the sentiment. For that large floral image, I am using Simon Says Stamp 120 pound cardstock. So I have that ready. I have my sentiment ready. I'm trimming out some more foil for another sentiment. Now that that's ready, I can push my little button. It'll blink for about a minute. And then once it's done, I'm going to pull it out of the docking station, add my plates and shim, and then run this through my Platinum 6 die cut machine. This is a black one. I know you can only get it through scrapbook.com, but it's scrapbook.com and Spellbinders did like a little collaboration there. But look at how pretty that is. I love it. Now let's foil our other sentiments while I'm going to line this sentiment up on the card, get it taped in place, trim out the foil so this goes a little bit faster. Apparently I was very organized in this situation. I'm not always this organized, but it seemed to work out well. And if you dock your Glimmer hot foil, I don't know, call it a pad, I don't know, whatever this little piece is, if you dock it immediately as soon as you're done, it heats up really quick. If you leave it out, it's going to take longer to heat up because it's cooled down. So here's our first little set of sentiments. I'm going to do this sentiment twice. One of them says Happy Valentine's Day and the other one says Happy Galentine's Day. Now I'm going to add that panel back with the sentiment, and then I'm going to prep the second little sentiment here, putting this in place, and then once that one's done, I can run that through. Let's run this through the die cut machine, and I do like to go really slow. Of course, I've sped up the video, but I go slow forward and backwards to give it time to adhere to the cardstock. So this sentiment says, "You make my heart smile." I think that's very, very sweet. And then let's foil our last 2 sentiments. Once this is done being heated up, then I can again pull it out of the docking station, put my plate and shim on top, and run this through my die cut machine. Again, I'm going to go slow forward and back. And that Glimmer specialty cardstock definitely foils so nicely, and I really love to use it for my sentiments because then there's just no messing around. Sometimes I use it for my card base, but usually not. Okay, let's use the coordinating die to die cut out these sentiments, and when taping down, be careful to not tape it to your foil itself because it can lift the foil. So I'm making sure it's just really on the edge of the die cut, and then of course adhere to the paper. And now we have our sentiments for the rest of the cards, except for one that we're going to make. I decided to use colored pencils. I'm using Prismacolor pencils to color my image. I'm keeping it super simple. A lot of times I use Gamsol. I had no idea how that would react with the foil, so I didn't do that because I didn't want to mess it up. I didn't have time to redo this card, but it turned out really, really pretty. I color a little bit heavier at the base and then super light for the rest of the image. I'm adding the shadow and the light area. And really this card colored super, super fast. And I think it turned out really pretty. I'm using 2 different colors of greens because there's 2 different kinds of, well, there's 3 different kinds of greenery, but I'm just using 2 colors of green. Then we have some peachy pinks and then some purpley pinks that we're going to use. So this is the peachy pink. I'm doing a darker color at the base, but I am going to bring in a lighter color to color out to the edge of the petals. So I am using 2 different colors of pink on the little flowers. I will also use 2 different colors of pinks on the big flowers. And again, I'm just being really light-handed. When you're coloring with colored pencils, if you go too heavy-handed at first, there's only so much color you can put down. Your paper kind of, I don't want to say soaks up the color because it doesn't work like that, but there comes a point you can't add any more color if it's on too heavy. So even though I'm darker at the base, I'm still not pressing down and putting down the most color possible. That way I can have a little bit of room to work with. So that is done being colored. I did trim it down slightly. I'm adding a pink matte behind that, and then I will adhere that to a white A2 size card base, which also gives it a little bit of a white matte. But how pretty is that? I love this. Just a 1-layer card. Okay, so here's the stencil of the month, and I apologize. I did not know. I didn't record the first 2 stencils. There's 4 of them. It's labeled 1, 2, 3, 4. The first 2 were the pink flowers. That was the first one, and the second one was all of those leaves. Super simple. Again, I apologize. I don't know what happened, but clearly I didn't press record. So this is the 3rd stencil. This actually lines up between all of those other leaves and connects to the flowers themselves. So I'm using GUAVA, DUBLIN, and TROPIC, and AEGEAN. I think that's how you say it. AEGEAN, something like that. Pretty, pretty colors. So that's what I'm doing. This, I believe, is DUBLIN right here. And TROPIC was for the other leaves, and then AEGEAN is darker in the same color line. This is Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated Inks, and I'm going to add some detail to those other leaves. So this just lines up. I'm making sure everything is lined up. There is little registration marks on the side that lines up to an A2 size card. But I think it's so fun that they now have a Stencil of the Month Club. And of course, layering stencils is so quick and easy to make a card with, or even to make mass producing cards. It's so simple. So I'm going to finish ink blending this. I will trim this card panel down just a little bit around the outsides and adhere that to a white A2 size card base. And then I'm going to use the sentiment that says Happy Galentine's Day. Remember, we foiled that, so this is going to give it a little something extra because it's a foiled sentiment. Of course, adding foam adhesive. And then I wanted to add some little finishing details. I'm going to use some clay hearts from Honeybee Stamps. These are the white ones. First, I want to add some white highlights to the flowers. I'm not going to do it to all the leaves, but just to the flowers. Then I thought it would be cute because to me, obviously these flowers are heart-shaped, so I thought it'd be fun to add some white hearts to each one of the flowers, even the small ones, to give a little something extra. So I'm adding, sequence, I guess, but doing it this way. And I think this card turned out super, super cute. It's just kind of light and airy and fun. Okay, so Stencil of the Month Club is done. Glimmer of the Month Club is done. Here is the 3D embossing folder of the month, you're going to get 2 cards out of this folder. So I'm using some white cardstock. It's just a half a sheet of an 8.5 by 11. And I'm running that through my die cut machine. I'm going to use the same technique on both of these, just different colors. But I love a 3D embossing folder. It's so pretty. So you're going to cut this in half, and now you're going to have 2 card bases. I want to use a brayer to add some color to the raised areas. So let's start with this one first. I love those little hearts everywhere, the little, it's not cross hatches, but I think the background is stunning. I am using the Stamp Markets ink in Peach, Melon, and Sun. I am using the smallest brayer from Ranger ink, and I'm being really careful. Sometimes the ink still does get on the background, even though I'm just trying to keep it on the raised areas, and I'm cleaning it between each color, kind of rolling over the previous color just a little bit. And I will take some of this Sunshine ink down onto the heart, but look at all of that. It's so, so pretty, and a really simple way to highlight all of that embossed area. I think that's so stunning. This is a great embossing folder. I cannot wait to use it for some other cards. Then I'm going to use the Happy Valentine's Day. Now, even though this is a bunch of hearts, I feel like you could give this to a guy because of the color scheme. It's not pink. So I'm just going to add the Happy Valentine's Day that we hot foiled at the beginning, right in the center of that heart. And then I'm also going to add some wooden hearts. These are no longer available from Honeybee Stamps. I'm so sorry, but I am trying to clean out my stash, so I am going to use them. But you could use some red hearts or some white hearts, and that would be really pretty too. But if you have these in your stash, I would say use them up. This will be adhered to a white A2 size card base as well. And look at how pretty that is. Super simple, but speaks loud. Okay, here's the other one. I am just going to use the Guava ink, and I don't want any ink to get on that heart in the center, so I'm working around the edge carefully. Again, just inking up the embossed areas so you can really see the pattern come to life. Being really careful to not get it on the heart. I wanted that to be left open and white. That's so pretty. This I'm going to add the Happy Galentine's Day foiled sentiment to. And then I do want to add some hearts to this as well. But again, this is a quick way to make a bunch of cards. Even if it's not like a Happy Valentine's Day card, if it's a whatever, you could just do this really super quick. Let me get that foam tape. Very cute. Now I decided to use some red clay hearts. These are the Kiss Me clay hearts from Honeybee Stamps. These are available. I will have them linked and listed and linked for you guys below. I'm just deciding my layout. 3 was not enough, but I think that 4th one really kind of did it. So I will use some Barely Art liquid glue to put those in place. And then of course this will be adhered to a white A2 size card base. And that one is finished. Okay, final card, you guys. The BetterPress system. This is the BetterPress kit of the month for December. And I'm going to stamp this with black ink. So let me bring the system over. If you guys have not used this, it's so simple, so easy, and so pretty. The designs, you get such detailed images. It's like a metal stamp. So if you're not familiar with it, it looks like a die, but it's a stamp. So you're going to take the lid off of the BetterPress. I'm going to call it the machine, but it's a platform. I'm taping down my cardstock with this yellow tape. This is from Spellbinders. This base is a magnet, so you will put your metal plate image side up. And I'm also going to do the sentiment, and you can see that there's measurements. So I have it inside of the A2 size card panel, and I have my cardstock taped in the A2 size card panel. So everything lines up. I'm inking it with the BetterPress ink, so you need to use their ink. And then the cardstock is a cotton cardstock that's specifically made for this, because not only does it stamp it, it gives it, I don't want to say it like debosses it, but it gives it a little bit of a imprint of the image. So you lay that piece on top, it magnets to it, you run it through your die cut machine, and then you take it out, take the top off, and you have this beautiful stamped image. Of course, I'm using some colored pencils because I use that for my other card, and I'm going to color this part here yellow, and the other part will be a gray. I'm adding some darker shadow areas and then some lighter highlight areas. Again, building on the color, so not going completely dark all the way. Don't press down with your colored pencil all the way, but add it, and then you can, the darker you want it to go, add a little bit more color to that area. I'm adding some of this darker gray to the little spots on the moon and to that outer edge. I'm just following along where there is a shadow already on the stamp, which kind of helps. And then where you have a highlight on the stamp, you can go lighter. So I'm going to finish coloring that, making sure I get a good blend between the two colors. I love that yellow. I think it's so, so pretty. And the sentiment says, "Love you to the moon and back." I will place this on some dark blue cardstock. And then I'm going to add some gold stars from Trinity Stamps. I just felt like obviously that made sense. And I love that they're different sizes. So I'm going to put those around. And then of course this will be adhered to an A2 size card base. And then let's take a look at this close up too, because it is such a pretty image. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed all of these projects from Spellbinders Club Kits. Definitely get them if you haven't. They are so worth the money. They're a lot of fun. It's always a good surprise when it comes to you and you don't know what you're going to get. It's always fun. So thank you guys again. Have a wonderful day, and I will be back soon with another video. Bye.